As a person who loves to play a lot of different games, I tend to find myself always returning back to one in particular, and who would have guessed it's Omega Strikers? But I've already covered my initial thoughts about the game, so what's more that I can add to it? Well, because of the fact that my hours count up so warrantably high that the friends I've made through OS are now sending me screenshots of playing for 8 hours straight when I could have sworn I've only played a few matches, I think I can say I'm quite experienced in the core striking field when I say I love this game. But even though I love the game, I don't really like to make sequels to content I've already made. So, I bet you're wondering, what did Odyssey Interactive do to make me talk about this game again? One word: summer. That's right, summer. Ice cream, cool water, and popsicles in the middle of fall. It seems that Odyssey Interactive is a bit late with this one. With this new season, they've curated a banger of a battle pass, 2 new maps to core strike on, summer skins, a whole new character, and best of all, a visual novel. And with all of these things combined, this created a whole new feeling inside of me to talk about this game again. My perspective of Omega Strikers has changed greatly since I've initially played it, and honestly, I think I might have some hot takes you may have to debate me on. So, without further ado, let me give you the official CyKer overview of Omega Strikers Season 2. Have you ever wanted to beat someone to death with an umbrella? Kazan gives you that, and apparently that's way more effective than any other tool used inside of this game. How so? Because he has an entirely different toolkit with the ability to swap between them in-game. Kazan was crazy when he first got teased, and he's still insane to this day. I've never heard so much positive collective response when it came down to who was going to play this guy. And you know what happened after he was released? Yeah, only 2 people I knew were still playing this guy past the first hour. Kazan is the most technical character so far in Omega Strikers, and surprisingly, unlike his initial release where all you had to do was face roll abilities on the goalie, the nerf built up the skill level required to master him substantially. Did you know how frustrating it was to have a match deciding on whether or not the enemies banned Atlas? You know, the only healer in this game? Goalies, hear me out. It was a very rough time to be a goalie during this spot, and I feel like others have probably felt the same too. But while I hold this grudge heavily towards his initial release, I actually really like this character in general. He's super fun to play and can in fact be played by a goalie. Just don't switch forms and poke the cord, that's all you really gotta do. I think he's an excellent character, but I hope to God Odyssey Interactive doesn't give me a heart attack with the next character. Seeing the nerf to the numbers Kazan needed to stop being instant win territory was ridiculous. But moving away from Kazan, let's start talking about the maps. Omega Strikers maps are something that heavily gets debated about in the community, and I'm definitely someone who also participated in this in a 12-hour stream. But my reasoning for bringing this up is mainly due to the discourse with the new maps added to Season 2. Inky Splashstone and Gates of Obscura. These 2 maps are extremely gimmicky in concept, and honestly, they shed a new light on my understanding of how Omega Strikers should be played in general. Which is not at all. I'm just joking about that, by the way. Please don't ban me for Omega Strikers. You should be playing Omega Strikers in accordance with the map's gimmicks for your own advantage. Me personally, I really enjoyed Obscura's map. Upon my first initial reaction to the map, I knew it was going to be an entirely different experience, and boy, I was correct. This map changed the way I saw the field, and it completely showed me that my map awareness was pure garbage. As soon as the core went through the portal, I didn't even know where to look anymore. I was so lost. Eventually, I would start understanding the many different aspects, caveats, and sometimes easy goals you could get just by aiming the proper way. There's so much that this map had to teach me personally, and it overall turned me into a better player. It's so goofy, I love this map to this day. Inky's map is also pretty goofy in action too, but I really only have one concern with it. Why is it that when you break the enemy's barrier, you get access to the cannon? Doesn't it make a little bit more sense receiving it as a last-ditch effort to help protect your goal rather as a quick way to profit off from pressure blasting the enemies out of the arena? I was surprised to see that's how it was, because that's not how I interpreted for the first few matches I played. I don't know, but if you change this, maybe this map will be a little bit better, but that's just my suggestion. I think that it is a map that caught many people off guard just by its cannon system, but it's somewhat an interesting map at least. But even though I enjoyed these maps in their own way, there's been so much discourse on these maps not feeling like competitive maps. And I agree with it 100%. But even though I understand that, I don't truly believe it should be removed from the competitive map pool. You see, I believe that Omega Strikers in concept is a ridiculous game. That is what lets this game have such a unique style compared to other competitive experiences. This game is made to make you play the game in unique ways using these ridiculous concepts. If every map was built like Aten City with barely anything in the main field and is purely all skill, the game would lack identity, fun, and literally anything else of the sort that keeps this game thriving. I'm not gonna say every map is flawless like Amy's app, but I am gonna say that these maps are supposed to challenge the player's mechanics, skills, and most of all, creativity. There's so many different approaches that you can take in each map. It's up to you to decide what works best. But that's pretty much my thoughts on the maps in general. I think they're both interesting, but that canon system could probably be reworked, you know? Moving on to the next topic. If you look into my past, you may find that there may have been a hint of me possibly holding a visual novel summer. I've been searching around my room to see if Odyssey Interactive wiretapped my room, because I didn't expect it was gonna happen like this. I think we can all agree that a visual novel-based event was not in our expectations, especially for a game like Omega Strikers, but it sure did deliver. I knew the visual novel was gonna be something special as soon as Juliet messaged us like 5 different times because we overslept playing Omega Strikers. Don't even ask me how that continuity works in that universe, I don't know. In this cool little event, you get to experience entertaining scenarios with a select small cast and see a bit more into their personalities by completing missions. While I had fun completing the missions, it was a bit sad to learn that the VN isn't canon to Omega Strikers lore. But to be fair, I don't think doing the gritty, Orange Justice, and other horrendous emotes in front of X would be vital to the lore in any way, shape, or form. That's just me though. I would love to hear your thoughts about it. It's an event that attached me more to their characters through their wide personalities and enjoyable presence. I think the event was worthwhile all the way to the end for an amazing closer that's sure hard to forget after you've experienced it. Overall, it was an unexpected event, and I would like to see more of this format or something else that would add even more to the depth of the characters. But that's surely not all I want to talk about, because I want to talk about the music. It has been a while since I've heard Omega Strikers OST inside of the game since I've turned it off. I absolutely love their soundtrack, and I've already expressed my love towards it, and Omega Strikers struck my competitive core. I couldn't turn off my Omega Strikers music for so long because I genuinely enjoyed hearing the tracks inside of the game. With other games, I'd barely give them a day. But when it was teased that James Landino created summer remixes of all the songs, yup. I genuinely cannot tell you how in the world Landino was able to take something so upbeat and mellow it out for each one of the summer characters. I was super worried that things weren't going to be translated over well when the new remixes were teased. Everyone's remix is so good, and I guess this proves that no one should ever underestimate what can and cannot be done with music. These remixers truly were an eye-opener for me. And of course, Season 2's Battle Pass and emoticons are still going as hard as ever. They are the main selling points for me to keep investing time into this game. They're hilarious. Also, I don't know if anyone else noticed, but you can buy the previous Battle Passes stuff, and I thought that was a really cool thing to implement, despite the markup price, which is kind of fair in my eyes. But as Season 2 has made some interesting and entertaining changes that come with the new season, there are still some issues that needs to be addressed about Omega Strikers. I won't delve into that into this video, as that's an entirely different video within itself, but I at least wanted to mention it for future reference. Personally, with this season, I have to say that I'm very much satisfied with the content given. Kazan as a character is really fun and lets you pop off some really crazy moves akin to his personality. And then with the maps, I do believe that there needs to be some small tweaks in both Inky's and possibly Obscura, but I do think that they're both very fun to play in their own rights. I thought the visual novel was super entertaining, and I think that others took the time to 100% it to gain all the rewards just as I did. The summer remixes and the OST crafted for the VN once again took control of my aux cord and had me stuck on it for quite a bit. And of course, the monetization factors feel worth it in the long run. Overall, it's a banger season to me personally. I'd love to hear if you thought this season was up to your expectations, especially the maps in general. This is basically the end of my overview for Season 2 of Omega Strikers, but I wanted to take some time in this video to say a few things about what's been up. There's a lot of things that's been going on in the background since I've initially made my first video of Omega Strikers. Since then, I've made a ton of friends inside the Omega Strikers community, I've streamed the games on multiple occasions on Twitch, and I built my first ever PC, all the while inside of college. I guess you can say that there's a lot of things for me to handle at the current moment. I'm extremely behind on the videos that should have been made a while ago, and I'm gonna be taking more time to get those out now that I have a PC actually worth the salt to edit as freely as I want. There's definitely a lot more that I want to say about it, but instead of dragging this video on any longer, I'll just save it for a further explanation later on. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. If you have any thoughts about anything I've said, feel free to leave a comment down below. I take time to read and reply through them all, so if you leave a comment down below, more than likely I'm going to see it and I'm going to say something. Anyways, it's been real. You are now leaving CyKer's world. See you on your next visit.